Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jesus Nava. I'm in the Client Training and Education Department here at TradeStation. And our main goal here at TradeStation is to help you with all our trading platforms to get you up and trading quickly and without having a big learning curve. Today's topic is all about mobility tools. So we're going to dedicate the next 45 minutes to learning about what we have in our applications both on Android and iOS. TradeStation offers you different platforms on which you can view charting, put in trades, and monitor orders and positions. We have the desktop, which is the one you install on your computer. We have web trading, which is a utility that you can load up on any internet browser. And then we have the mobility tools, which are the ones you install on your phones. If you have an Android phone, you would have to go to the Google Store to download it and install it. And if you have an iOS phone, you'd have to go to the App Store to download TradeStation Mobile. Both applications are totally free. And if you have a TradeStation username and password, you can log into these applications and have access to your trading account from the convenience of the palm of your hands. So we're going to talk about those tools and those features that have been implemented on those two platforms. And before we do so, let me jump over here to my computer to go over some information and do some housekeeping. This is the title slide. Keep in mind that every symbol and idea that we talk about here today is for educational purposes only. It is not a recommendation of TradeStation. Active trading is not suitable for everyone, especially when it comes to trading options, which carry a high degree of risk. If you'd like to read more about these disclosures, please visit our website, www.tradestation.com, and you'll find all the disclosure information at the bottom of the page. I also want to talk to everyone about our Getting Started with TradeStation channel. This is a channel that we are hosting on youcantrade.com. So if you haven't had an opportunity to go there, please go to www.youcantrade.com and look for the Getting Started with TradeStation channel. We do 3 classes a week on all the TradeStation platforms. These are basic classes. They are interactive. They give you opportunities to interact with instructors, and you can ask any questions related to the functionality of any of the platforms. We also have the TradeStation Masterclass. Once you have a good handle on the basic functionality, the next logical step would be to upgrade to the TradeStation Masterclass, where we do, I wouldn't call it advanced topics, but they're more, feature rich. We go into the details and all the intricacies of the functionality to take your TradeStation platform usage to the next level. This is $59 a month, and you get a free trial. So go ahead and check it out. We have some archives there already, and you can watch those videos at your own convenience. All right, let me switch over here to my platforms. As you can see, I have the 2 platforms on the screen. On the left-hand side, I have Android, and on the right-hand side, I have iOS. This way, if you have one of these phones, you don't feel left out. For the most part, we do the classes on iOS, but I always like to show both, because the menus and the functionality may change a little bit from one environment to the next. A lot of times, I ask the attendees what type of phone you have so that I can have an idea on how the class is split up. So if you can use the chat right there in YouTube to type in Android or iOS, it'll give us an idea on how the class is split up. But I'll talk about both, and everything that I do in this class is going to be presented in both environments, so you know exactly where to go to find the functionality. So as you go along, just type it in, and it'll give us an idea. So let's go ahead and get started on the app. I've already logged in, so you can see that I see a list of symbols. When you first install the app and you log in, I believe you only see one symbol. So I've added some symbols of my own, and we can add multiple symbols here and watch symbols as we please. Okay, so I'm getting some responses here already. It's half and half. Or actually, no, I have 2 iPhones, so good. There's about 25 people connected in class. So if you have any questions, I'm looking at the chat once in a while, so please Go ahead and submit your questions as we go along. We are talking about the mobile apps. So if you have any questions on the desktop or web trading, those can be asked on the Getting Started channel if you go to youcantrade.com. All right, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4 iPhones, 1 Android. So I guess iOS is beating at this in this class. So let's go ahead and continue. In order for you to modify the list of symbols that you have here is all a matter of tapping on the plus sign that you see right there on the top. Let's say, for example, that I want to see the price of Ford. Ford is a company whose symbol is the letter F. So we're going to type in F and see what the price of Ford is. So I'm going to type on plus at the very top on both environments. Notice that as you start typing, and I'm just typing the F on both environments, the search is going to give you everything that matches the letter that you just typed in. Of course, at the very top, we see Ford Motor, so we know for a fact that F is the letter that represents Ford Motor. So I'm just going to tap on from the results, I can just tap on Ford Motor, and that's going to add it at the bottom of the screen. My iOS is generating an error, so let me see if I can do it again. Okay, so it doesn't want to add Ford. Let me just do something here on my iOS. I'm going to shut the application and then reopen it. So give me just a moment. All right, so let's see. Let me try it one more time. I'm going to tap on the plus, F, tap on Ford, and there it is. Okay, so sometimes if you get that type of errors, logging off and logging back on usually fixes the error. It fixed it for me. So Ford is loaded right there at the bottom of my list of symbols. I can see the price of Ford is $5.97, and I see the net change from the close of yesterday. It dropped 29 cents from yesterday. I also see the bid and ask information. A lot of times, the bid and ask is not something you probably don't want to see yet unless you're trading. There's other information that you may be interested in. Use your finger to cycle or to move the columns to the left. So I can do that on both environments very easily, and there's multiple columns that you can look at. One of those columns is volume. Let's say, for example, that we want to move volume closer to where the prices are. That way you can see how much activity there has been for any of these symbols. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to edit the columns. The way I do it on Android is tapping on the 3 dots that you see right there on the top. It's going to give you a little menu. You tap on column settings, and you get a list of all the different columns that you can turn on, you can turn off. On iOS, you have a little gear that is visible right there on the column headers. I'm just going to tap there, and it takes me to a similar list of columns that I can turn on and turn off. Notice that volume is all the way at the bottom, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to move volume close to the last traded price. So let me go ahead and do that. On Android, I'm going to tap on volume, hold it. Notice that I can just drag it up. And I'm going to put it right next to the last. All right. And also, I may not just want the last column. I may want the last and percent change. So I'm just going to drag that and push it to the top. So let me go ahead and drag that. There we go. Because the one we were looking at, it was net change. So it was giving you how much Ford had moved net, which was 29 cents. Now, what does that mean in a percentage? You have to disable, the last column and enable the one that says last and percentage will give you the percentage change. Let's go ahead and do the same thing here in iOS. I'm going to drag volume. So I just kind of hold it and then push it to the top. I'm going to disable last and turn on last and percentage. Once I'm done, I'm just going to tap on done at the very top. We have done on Android and done on iOS. And take a look at what happened. Now I can see not only the price of the security, I can see the percent change. Notice how Ford dropped 4.48%, and we can see the volume for Ford. It traded 96.6 million shares just today. That's impressive. So whenever you want to do modifications to the columns, just go ahead and tap on the 3 dots for Android or tap on the little gear for iOS. So now we know how to add symbols, we know how to remove symbols, and we know how to cycle through the columns. Gives you a lot of information on all the securities that you're following. If you are a futures trader, or let's say, for example, that you're watching different sectors of the industry, you can create, multiple quotes list and load them up in your applications as you're trading. If you notice at the very top of both my environments, I have something called My Quotes. That's a custom list of symbols, and the application will actually save them to the server, so that if you have to install the application again on your phone or you get a new phone, you still get your list of symbols. But if you wanted to create multiple lists, just tap up there where you see My Quotes, and Android will give you a menu allowing you to select the quotes that you want to see. For example, I have one called Futures. You can see it on both. If I tap on Futures, then it'll load Futures on my environment as well. Okay, so let me go up there again. Let me go back to My Quotes. My Quotes. If you wanted to create a new one, what you need to do is, on Android, you need to go back to the three dots that we clicked on earlier. When you tap in there, you get a menu, and in that menu, it's Manage Quote List. So you go there in order to create new ones or to remove ones that you've created and you're not using anymore. On iOS, you go back to the drop down where you find all the different quotes list, and in here is where you find the plus and the little pencil at the very top, so you can edit those lists, remove the ones you're not using, or create new ones. But this is very convenient for those of you that are monitoring different lists, if it's because you're following different sectors or different exchanges or different asset classes. So just keep that in mind. I'm going to tap on Done on both environments, and we're back on the quotes list. Now, let's say that we want to see a chart on any of these symbols. We started adding Ford, so let's stick with Ford and see what we can do with it. I'm going to tap on the actual symbol. So from the list, just tap on the symbol, and it's going to take you to a chart of Ford. Let's talk about chart a little bit. And even before we talk about charting, let me just point to a few things on this view, because we've gone to a view that we call the detail view. This provides you a lot of information on Ford, starting with the chart. But if you look at the bottom of iOS, let me see if I can have my cursor. Yeah, right here's my cursor. If you look at the bottom, you're going to find 5 different tabs. The tabs on Android are going to be at the very top, but we have the exact same tabs that you can cycle through. So starting from the left, you have Summary. Let's go to Summary on both environments. So this is Summary. Gives you a quick view of Ford, what's happening to it. Specifically, what's the 52-week high, the 52-week low, how the current price compares to the 52-week high and the 52-week low. And you also get a little graph right there of intraday activities, just like a summary. The next tab over, I'm going to go to News. It's going to load news articles for the symbol that we're looking at. Remember that this is the detailed view of Ford, so the news that you see here is all related to Ford, and you can use your fingers to go up and down on the list of these articles. Tap on one if you'd like to read the article. The next tab over is Charting. That's where a chart is, and we're going to come back to chart and show you a few things we can do here. The next tab is Matrix. Matrix is very useful if you're looking to see market depth or level 2 data. So if you want to see the bids and the asks as they relate to the current market, then the Matrix is the place where you want to go. And options, we're going to take a look at options in a little moment, but I wanted to show you that you can access options on Ford right here on the application. Let's go back to the chart and show you a few things you can do in charting. First thing, where do you go to change the symbol? Well, if you look at the very top on both environments, you see the symbol F. So if I tap on F at the very top on iOS, you get the list of symbols that were in your quotes. And right there in Android, I'm going to tap on the F, and you get the list of symbols that are part of your quotes. So you can quickly change the symbol by just going to the top and then getting that drop down with your symbols. You can also change the time frame by tapping on the abbreviated time frame at the bottom of the chart. I know that if you're comparing my Android to my iOS, the time frames are going to be a little bit different. For example, if you look here at the bottom of Android, the first time frame is the capital letter D for daily, and then you have 1 minute, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and so forth. On my iOS, it starts with 1 minute. I don't have daily here. The time frames that you see at the bottom of the chart can be edited, can be modified, so you have access to the ones you're always using, and that way you don't have to go to the big menu. If you notice at the very end on the right-hand side, there's a little watch that you can, or a clock that you can tap on, and it gives you all the other time frames that are part of the menu. If you tap on that clock on Android, you get the list of different time frames, and the same on iOS, and you just have to tap on the time frame that you want. So if I want to see daily, closer to my 1 minute, all I need to do is on iOS, tap on the pencil that you see right there on that menu, and then I can take daily and then just push it up all the way to the top. Once I'm done editing, I just tap on the pencil one more time, and now you can see that at the bottom, the very first time frame is daily. So let me go ahead and tap on daily on both environments. And this is the way that it looks. The spacing is going to be a little bit different on Android than iOS, but that's fine. You can use the pinch and zoom gesture that you use to blow up pictures. If you want to zoom into a picture, you do the same thing here in charting, and it changes the spacing on the candles. So if I do that here on Android, you can see that it allows you to squeeze more historical data on the chart, if you want to do that. If you want to see more detail, just do the opposite, pinch and zoom, and you can see the detail of the chart also. Let me switch back to a 5 minute. I'm just going to tap from the bottom, switch to a 5 minute. It's a 5 minute chart of Ford. And let's suppose that we want to also see the pre and the post market session. See, right now, the last candle that you see there is what happened on the last 5 minute of the regular session. So it stops at 4. But we know that a lot of these symbols are going to continue trading in the post market. If you want to see that activity, just to see where the prices are going after the market closes, you can pull up the pre and the post market by going into the menus. Right here on Android, I'm going to go to the gear that you see right there on the top of the chart. It gives me a menu, and in that menu you can see regular session is the one selected, but I'm going to select regular, pre, and post, which is the third option there, and I'm going to tap on OK. And you can see the post-market activity. I'm not sure if it's very clear on the screen or what I'm projecting right now, but there is a shade of gray in the background letting you know which candles are part of the post-market. Let me see if it's a little bit more visible on the chart on iOS. I tap on the gear again on the top. It gives me a menu. I'm going to tap on session, and I'm going to select regular, pre, and post. And it's a little bit more prominent on iOS. You can see the shade. So all those candles that are with a lighter shade of gray, those are the post market. And you also see the pre-market once the market opens tomorrow. So you can see where the prices are going pre and post market. Perfect. Thank you, Chris, for letting me know that it was showing. Let's go ahead and add some studies. Let's suppose that our study of choice is Bollinger Bands, because we like, the standard deviations, and we like how the price may go to extremes, and we are betting on it returning back to the median. So let's go ahead and add Bollinger Bands on both environments. The way we do it on Android is tapping on the beaker that you see there. There's a science beaker that is a symbol for studies. I'm going to tap there, and I get a menu, and I'm just going to select Bollinger Bands, which is at the very top of the list, and then just tap OK at the bottom. And the Bollinger Bands goes right on the chart. The same here on iOS. We don't have a beaker button here on iOS, but we do have the gear that allows you to go to Add Study. So it's a little bit different, and that's why I always like to keep the two phones visible so that you know how to do it on your own environment. I'm going to go to Add Studies and select Bollinger Bands, and it goes right on the screen. If you want to add volume, for example, again, I'm going to click on the beaker on Android. Volume it's supposed to be all the way at the bottom. Okay, here it is. I'm going to select not the volume oscillator, the volume average, and tap OK. And I'm going to do the same thing here on iOS by going to the gear, add studies, scroll to the bottom, and select volume average. So it's very simple. Once you learn how to do one thing, it's pretty simple, pretty straightforward, and you can put in your indicators and studies the way you'd like. If you want to edit, by the way, if you want to edit any of the studies and change the parameters, let's say that you want to change the average length or you want to change the colors of any of the lines, you can tap on the name of the study. Let's say that I want to change the volume to be blue instead of white. I just tap on the volume average name. Notice how the down color, up color cyan, down color red should be colored and it's not. That's interesting. Okay, but you get the idea. You'd have to go to the name of the study and change the plot colors. Here's the plot for the volume. I can make them blue on iOS. I didn't see that same option here on Android. I just see up color, down color. I don't see the color of, so maybe it's not an option here in Android. But for other parameters like the length that is being used for the average or the thickness of the lines, all those settings can be changed by tapping on the name of the study and going into the configuration. Let's take a look at other settings. The chart is a place where you can put in a trade. In fact, if you tap on the background of the chart, just a little tap, I'm going to do it on both environments, you get this little box that we call the data tips window. It provides you with information for the candlestick where the vertical line shows up, but it also gives you the ability to trade. Notice the green button at the top. It says trade at 591 on Android, and it says trade at 607 on iOS, because it grabs the price at the point that you tapped on. So wherever you tapped, that's going to be the price that shows up inside that green button. In fact, if I tap on the chart and I bring my finger down, notice how the price changes. So now my two environments say 591 because I was able to just use my finger and bring it down to a lower price. Hopefully that makes sense. So if I tap on the green button, it'll take me to the order ticket for me to put in the trade. So even though it says 591 there, you still get another chance to change the price if you need to. A lot of times using the finger is not very precise. I've noticed that. I've tried, placing trades right here on the chart, and you have to be really precise to get the price that you want. But then once you tap on trade, it'll go to the order ticket, giving you an opportunity to type in the exact same price that you want. So a lot of times if the price scale is a little bit too detailed and you're having a hard time putting the prices in, what I recommend is that you use the trade button right there on the top right corner of the application. Very easy. Once you tap on it, it opens up the order ticket for you. The order tickets are going to be a little bit different. The one on the left is the original view of the order ticket that we have in mobile. The one on the right is the revised version. So we have a newer version on iOS. Very soon we'll have the same version on Android, but they both give you the same functionality. It's just that they look a little bit different. Let's point out the differences. Well, here I can send an order for Ford. Let's suppose that we want to buy Ford at $595. So I'm going to tap the limit price, tap the minus button right there to adjust the price, and I can do the same thing on iOS. I just tap on the minus to adjust the price. I'm going to leave the order type on limit. What I'm going to do is change the duration to GTC. Remember that the market is closed right now, so the only way that you can queue an order is by sending it as a GTC. Otherwise, the order is going to be rejected because you're sending it post-market. Although, we do take some post-market trades. They all have to be limit orders. So technically, yes, if you were able to send this as a day order, well, you'd have to send it as a day plus instead of a day. Let me show you where that function is. You see where duration is? If I tap on duration, you have a day plus. So if you really wanted to trade post-market or pre-market, you have to use the duration that has a plus next to it. That way, you can have the possibility of getting filled in the post market. But for this example, I'm just going to do a GTC, regular GTC, so the order gets queued for tomorrow. So I'm going to do GTC on Android. Right here on iOS, we see the duration right there. I'm not sure if you're able to see it. I'm going to point to it with my mouse right here. I'm going to tap on day and make it a GTC, and I'm going to send this order. One of the differences is that Android gives you a buy and a sell short button. So it separates them in the buttons. As opposed to iOS, if you look at the very top of the order ticket, you choose which direction the order is going to go, if it's going to be a buy or a sell. Both of these orders are going to be buy. So on Android, I'm going to tap on buy. This is my confirmation, and I'm going to tap on send. The order was sent. I tap on OK, and the order goes through. On my iOS, it's a buy order, but notice that at the bottom it just says review my order, which is fine. I'm going to tap on it. I get the confirmation window. I tap on send, and the order goes through. I find that one of the very nice features of the mobile app is that it gives you a little line with a flag where the order is. I find that very useful because you can see where the order is in relationship to the current price of any instrument that you're trading. Not only that, but it also gives you the ability to tap on that blue flag that says 100 limit so that you can adjust the order. You can tap and drag that order to a different price if you want to. Let's say, for example, that I want to drop the price to $5.90. Well, I'm going to do it on Android first. I'm going to tap on the blue flag, and let me do that again. Hold on. I did it wait a little bit too fast. You may have missed it. Let me go back. Okay. So I'm going to tap on the blue flag, and I'm going to drag it down. Notice how it's changing. And once I drop it here at $5.90, it's going to come back to the order ticket. So that's it's a little safer because sometimes if you're not really precise on the dragging, you may drop the order in a price that you didn't mean to. So the fact that it brings you over here to the order ticket, you can double check the price of your order. I'm just going to tap on that green button at the bottom that says replace order and then send it. Okay. And there, it goes through. The same thing on iOS. I'm going to tap on the flag, bring it down to $5.90. I get the order ticket. Notice the options at the bottom, cancel order or replace order. I'm going to tap on replace order and it goes through. Very easy. So when it comes to placing trades and adjusting your orders or monitoring your orders, the phone is a safeguard because you don't have to be tied to your computer, to your desktop. You don't have to be sitting at your desk. You could be walking down the street, sitting at a park, and then looking at your TradeStation account, monitoring your positions and your orders and adjusting them as the market is moving. Let's go ahead and switch the symbol to something different. Let's say that we want to, let me go back here to the list of symbols. I'm going to switch to Bank of America. So I'm going to do it on both. Okay, that's Bank of America. Take a look at the studies. The studies don't change, which is really nice because you can see that the data loads and the studies stay the same. My iOS is not loading my Bank of America data, which is fine. Let me just go back to a different symbol and then I'll come back to it. I'm going to go to Apple and then go back to Bank of America. There we go. So sometimes, I'm using the same internet on all these devices, and that may be, giving me a little bit of traffic on my bandwidth. So let's go ahead and put in something different for Bank of America. I'm going to show you how to do a little bit more of a complete or all-inclusive trade. Not only a buying transaction like we just did for Ford, but something that is complete in the sense that it has an entry and it also has exits. Okay, we call that an OSO, or an order sends order, with a combination of OCO, order cancels order. It sounds complicated, but it really is not. So I'm going to do that for Bank of America. And I know that Bank of America is trading at, I think the last was 22.72. I'm going to put in a buy at 22. And I'm going to do this on a daily chart. Let's go to a daily chart. Okay, so we're going to buy at, let's buy at 22. And we're going to set a target. I just don't want my order to be, let's do the following. Instead of buying at 22, I'm going to buy at 24 with a stop order. So I'll buy, if it comes back and it goes back up to 24, I'm going to buy it. Okay, and with a target at 25 and I stop at 23.50. Let's put in that trade, right? Sounds logical? Well, logical in the sense that these are the orders that we're going to place. Remember that this is just an example, not a trading strategy. But the market has been down so much that if you're looking for entering the market when it bounces back up, maybe you can put in a trade like this. Let's tap on trade on both environments. And when you go to the trade bar, the very first time, it's going to give you just a standard trade. At the very top of the trade bar or this order ticket, you have the ability to switch it from a standard order bar to an OCO order. So right here at the top, see how it says standard trade for Android? I'm going to tap it and I'm going to do an OSO with bracket. OSO with bracket is just that same setup that I just talked about. Buying at 24, selling at 25, and selling at 23.50. So let me do OSO with bracket. Notice how clean the Android order ticket looks. We can tell which one is the primary order and which ones are the contingent orders, which ones are connected in that OCO, the ones that have that bracket on the left-hand side. On iOS, it's going to be a little bit different. So rather than jumping back and forth between the two phones, I'm going to set it up first here in Android, and then we'll set it up here in iOS. On Android, I'm going to tap on the pencil on that pink title bar, and we said that we wanted to buy this at 24. So I'll put in the price there, 24. This is going to be a stop order because we're buying at a higher price than what it is right now. We're going to change the duration to GTC so it goes through the market. If I try to send this stop order as a day plus, it'll be rejected because you cannot send a stop when the markets are closed. Okay, so that's my first order. And the stop price, I have to change it again. I changed it back, 24. So it's a stop at 24, GTC. Sounds good. I'm going to tap on done at the very top. I can review the information right there below the pink. But now I'm going to edit the two cyans. One for my target and the other one for my stop. So I'm going to do the target first. We said that it was going to be at 25. So I'm going to tap on the pencil for that second order, which is the blue. And we said that this was going to be our limit order at 25. Okay, again, that order is going to be GTC. And it's a selling transaction. I didn't change the quantity because I just wanted you to concentrate on the functionality. So I'm just going to tap on done here. And I'll do the stop. So I tap on the pencil for that third row or order, which is the second blue. And this will be my stop. It's going to be for 100 shares. And we said that it was going to be 23.50. Okay, we do GTC. And that's it. We tap on done at the top. And we can do a last review. If you look over here, we have a buy at 24. We have a sell at 25. And then we have a stop at 23.50. Once we are ready, we just send the orders. This is our confirmation. We tap on send. We get a results window. And we tap on OK. And this is the way that it looks. Let me go to a 60-minute to see if we can see all the orders. Okay, so we have the orders there. It's just that sometimes, depending on the scale, let me remove my moving average and see if it, there we go. Take a look at those lines right there on Android. We have the blue line, which is going to buy at 24. Then it has the target at 25. And we have a stop at 23.50. So those orders are queued and they're sent to the order execution server. So I can shut down my platform or my mobile app and they'll still be there. TradeStation will monitor those prices and do exactly as I specified when the market opens tomorrow. Let me show you something similar for the same order, but I'm going to do it on iOS. Since the iOS experience has been, or it's newer, you're going to see how simple it is here. It's a buy order, so notice that, well, first of all, we are on the standard order tab. If you look up here, it's a standard order. We have to switch to OCO, OSO. So I tap up there. Notice that it gives you a menu. You can see that. Let me tap on OCO, OSO again. We have a little drop down under bracket. So we want an OSO with bracket. And take a look how it organizes the orders for you. Very similar to Android, where you have a top one and then you have the bottom two. So I'm going to open up my buy order. Notice that it just expands and you can still see the bottom. It's a buy order. We said that it was going to be a stop order because it's above the market. We changed the price to 24. Okay, so, and this is a GTC, so we change it to GTC. Okay, everybody clear on that? Then we just tap on the little button here to actually collapse that order. And now we just tap on the second order. This will be a limit. It's a selling transaction. I said that I was going to close this if it reaches 25. And this will be a GTC. All right, that's my target. And my stop, I said it was going to be a stop market. And the price was going to be $23.50 with a duration of GTC. And I collapse. So now you can take a look at the numbers here. And if I look over at the top, I have, all right, it's a buy at 24, stop market. Then I have a sell at 25 limit. And I have another sell at 23.50 stop that are connected in an OCO, which is great because if one gets filled, the other side gets canceled. I'm ready to review the order, so I'm going to tap on that green button at the top, at the bottom. I get my confirmation window that I can review again. Tap on send. I get my results, and I tap on OK. So let me go here to a 60-minute chart. I'm going to remove volume so we can get a little bit more space. And Bank of America is not loading data again, so I'm going to switch the symbols one more time. There we go. So now you can see the exact same orders on my iOS, but you see how the procedure is a little bit different. So all these orders, not only the standard orders, can be entered in the mobile device, but when you go to a little bit more complex orders, I think that's where the value is. And you can be anywhere in the world with your phone in your hands and be able to send in your orders for TradeStation. As I said earlier, if you're interested in placing trades in combination with market depth, Matrix is the way to go. So I'm going to tap on the Matrix tab. Okay, here it's just a matter of tapping on the blue if you want to buy, or tapping on the red if you want to sell. Works, I wouldn't say similar to the desktop, because the desktop provides you more information, more functionality than this. But if you want to see market depth, the Matrix is the way to do it. And all you need to do is tap on the blue to buy and tap on the red to sell. It's still going to take you to the order ticket, so you still have an opportunity to adjust your order if you need to. So take a look. If I'm going to tap on the blue here on Android, and notice that it takes you to the same order ticket that we saw earlier. If I do it here on iOS, the exact same order ticket. It's just that it'll grab the price of where you tapped on, and that's pretty much it. And it'll also show you market depth information. So I'm going to cancel out of this. To cancel out of this on Android, I tap on the arrow on the top. And if I cancel right here on iOS, you have a cancel little button on the top left. Okay, so that's Matrix. And options, of course, is going to give you options for, in this case, this is options for Bank of America. So let me give you some pointers here what to do. First of all, you can let the application organize your options and spreads. If you notice at the very top, I have a little drop down where you can select the spread you want to see. On Android, I have vertical. On iOS, I just have them set to single. So if I tap on that drop down, you can set a different spread. You know, that's where the two menus are. If you like to have the application build the spreads for you, so let me go ahead and leave it on single. So I'm going to select single instead of vertical. Okay, let's suppose that we want to look for an option that expires the 3rd week of April. Those would be the monthly options. Expirations are going to be at the very top, so I can use my finger to go through the different expirations. See, I'm doing that on Android. So the April 17th options, I think, are the ones that expire. Those are the monthly ones. And I can select the same ones right here on my iOS. And here they are. And trading your options is going to be exactly the same as you would do it on OptionStation Pro on the desktop or the Matrix. If you want to buy something, here you have to tap on the asking price because that's the selling price. So let's suppose that we want to buy a call with a strike price of 22. We see the strike prices right there in the middle. On the left of that, we see the asking price, which is $2.88. If you're having a hard time following, here's 22, and here's the price, 288. 22, 288. So if I tap on that 288, it'll assume that I want to buy the call at a strike price of 288. Let me tap there. I'll tap there. Notice how it'll send that option to the bottom so you can still see it. And then you can either look at a chart or you can trade it. If I tap on trade on both environments, again, it'll take me to the same order ticket. But here, notice that you have pricing. At the very top, you'll see a description of what is it that you're trading. This is a call expiring, April 16th, strike price of 22. Right over here on the right, we see the description of the call right there below the underline. So it's very simple for you to put in your trades, and I want you guys to pretty much get your hands on it, practice, and take a look at all the functionality that has built in. Let me just cancel out of this and go back to my main menu. Okay, you can always go back to the main quotes if you want to pull up another quote. I wanted to point out a couple things of the mobile app. In addition to giving you the flexibility of accessing your account wherever you are, there's a couple things that also set it apart from our other platforms. The alerting functionality is one of those things that I find very useful right here on the mobile app. We know that Ford, we talked about Ford earlier, and it's trading at $5.95. What if you want to be alerted if it trades above $7? Today the market dropped significantly. Maybe you think it's going to continue to drop tomorrow. You want to be alerted where the price of Ford is because you're interested in either buying it or selling it short. So let's go ahead and set up 2 alerts. We're going to set up an alert if it goes above 7, and we're going to set up an alert if it goes below 5. Let's do that. I'm going to tap on let's do it this way. I'm going to tap on Ford to go to the detail view. And I'm going to go to the chart. From the chart, if you notice from the chart view, you will see a little bell at the very top on the detail view. See, where my cursor is, you find the bells on both sides. So if I tap on that bell, let me tap on it on Android. It gives me the alert functionality. I'm going to say for Ford, if the last is greater than, and I can type in my price in there, $7, click OK. Oh, the alert was created successfully. Okay, that's fine. I'll tap on OK. I think I just tapped on it too quick and you didn't see the actual dialogue, but I'll do it on iOS. I'm going to tap on the bell. It goes right into Ford. Last is greater than. I'll type in my conditions in here. $7. And then I'll just tap on create at the top right. And the alert is created. Now, I'm not going to do the bottom side. You get the idea on how to create the alert. But I do want to say that when you set up an alert on the mobile app, this is an alert that is server-based, meaning that when the price hits, when the alert is triggered, you're going to receive a notification. So TradeStation mobile app uses the phone notification system to push out notifications to wherever you are on your phone. If you have a locked screen, you'll see the notification on the locked screen just as if you were receiving a text message or an email, TradeStation has its own notification that will pop up on your screen. Of course, if you enable it in the notification settings. But I find that to be very useful because different than, for example, the desktop. The desktop is the type of platform that you have to have open. It has to be connected to the internet, and the computer has to be running. Otherwise, you don't get any alerts. The phone is different because you set up an alert here, and TradeStation will monitor that alert. It's server based, and as soon as it triggers, it'll send a notification to your phone. So I use those a lot, and if you're walking down the street, you're gonna get that notification very quickly. All right. I don't see a lot of questions in the chat, so I'm going to assume that the presentation is clear. If you have any questions, this is your chance to submit it right there, and I'll take questions live and show you some functionality on the mobile device. If you ask me questions about the desktop, I don't have it installed here, so I won't be able to show it to you, but please submit your questions. And by the way, if you haven't used the mobile app, I recommend you install it on your phone. So as I said at the beginning of the class, this is a free install. The same username and password that you use for your desktop works exactly the same on your mobile app. Completely free, and you have the ability to monitor your orders, monitor your positions, pull up a chart wherever you are. Very, very nice feature. Okay. Okay, I'll give you guys a few moments. I know that there's a little bit of a delay between what I say and what you guys hear, so I'll just wait patiently to see if there's any last-minute questions. I believe we've reached the end of the presentation, so time for Q&A. And by the way, while you're typing in your question, do not forget to go to youcantrade.com. TradeStation is hosting 2 channels, Getting Started with TradeStation and the TradeStation Masterclass. Great opportunity to learn about TradeStation, to also see how other people are using TradeStation, because one of the things that we do in the Masterclass channel is to have what's called an Ask the Experts, an opportunity for you to ask questions. You can see how other people are approaching TradeStation, and it becomes a very interactive experience. So make sure that you visit youcantrade.com and check out the content there. Okay, Michael is asking, does Trade2Go, I believe he's referring to our mobile app, include futures charting? Maybe it is, maybe it's not. I haven't heard of Trade2Go, but I believe you're referring to the mobile app. Does it include futures charting? Yes, it does. I'm looking at the microphone like it was the camera. Yes, it does. It includes futures if you have futures enabled in your account. So the same way, if you load up futures in your desktop, you can see the same futures on your mobile device. And even if you don't have futures enabled, you should be able to pull up what's called a delayed chart. So I think I have an example here. Let me show you. If I pull up here a symbol, let me do ESH20. Okay, that's the S&P E-mini. I'm just going to add it here in Android. And take a look at right there at the bottom. We see the symbol. And does everybody see the capital D next to the symbol? That's a delayed symbol, meaning that I'm not paying for the real-time data for that contract. So it's clearly showing me that it's delayed. But I can tap on that symbol and still get a chart. It won't be real-time. I won't see the real-time prices, but I can see a chart of the S&P E-mini futures. Let's see, what other questions? Why doesn't the Android show the ask price? I think we saw it. Let me just make sure that we don't see it. If we go to the Android, remember that these columns are, you can move these columns left and right. So if I use my finger and I just push the columns a little bit to the left, I see the ask, and I see other columns as well. So there's only a limited number of columns that you can see or fit in the view, but you can use your finger to slide them left and right. Another thing that you can do is you can also switch your phone around. This is like horizontal mode. I'm sorry it's being covered by my iOS, but that's another view for the application. You can just switch your phone to horizontal mode and the application will adjust to it. All right. Sharwin is asking, already did some scalping trades in live account. They worked out, but the order process takes much too long. I have already disabled the confirmation buttons. Um, Sharwin, you may be correct in saying that on the mobile device it does go through some additional information windows more than what you get on the desktop. So the desktop, it's slightly faster when it comes to placing an order. I have to agree with you in that, but this is pretty simple and pretty straightforward. And the added benefit of doing and being able to do it wherever you are, I think it's great. But yes, you're right. I mean, sometimes setting up an order, the process may be a little bit more intricate and may not be as fast as the experience that you have on the desktop version. We're going to watch the recording of past classes. I think Nico answered that. Any class that we do on YouTube is going to be loaded on YouTube. So you can watch the archive probably tomorrow. It should be ready. Otherwise, if you're watching a class on You Can Trade, those are all archived on You Can Trade as well, and you can watch the archives there. All right, Sharwin, buy, sell, market buttons on chart would be cool. I see your point, Sharwin. One thing that I wanted to point out, if you guys find something that you'd like to suggest, for example, Sharwin is asking us to, a buy at market or sell at market buttons on the chart would be great. Send that feature request to our product managers. A way to do that is using your application. If I go to the main menu, in fact, the main menu on the application is at the top left, hamburger. So notice that I tap on both environments, and there's a feedback option right there on this list of things. If I tap on feedback, you can either suggest a feature, report a problem, write a review, or call support right within the app. So any suggestions you have to make the app better, or just send it as a suggestion. It'll be listed in some sort of document, and the more people request that same feature, the faster it will be prioritized and implemented on the application. When you place an alarm, where it should be placed, on active or disabled? It's going to be an active alert. Correct. When you set up an alert, it's going to have to be active. In the column settings, my volume won't pull up to the top. Dave, I see your comment about the volume column. It does take. It's a little tricky, just to tap on the volume column and push it to the top. So you're gonna have to do that a few more times until you get a hang of it, because it happened to me too. At the very beginning, I was tapping on it and it wasn't going, but I did it in different locations or moved my finger slightly, and it worked. It finally worked. So sometimes it's a little finicky, and you just have to try it multiple times to see which way it works. Okay. All right. I think we've reached the end of the presentation. I want to say thank you, everyone, for your time. It was great spending this time with all of you. Remember the information that I shared with you. We're doing multiple classes to help you with all TradeStation trading platforms. We want to invite you to youcantrade.com, where TradeStation is hosting the Getting Started channel and also the masterclass. On YouTube, we have a series of events coming up. We have a tax event where it's going to give you suggestions on how to do your taxes as a trader. I think it's a great presentation. Is that tomorrow, Nico?
Yes, tomorrow.
Tomorrow at 4:30 p.m. is going to be the tax presentation. And we have a lot of other events coming up. So make sure that you also check our YouTube channel, become a subscriber, and also be notified whenever we are live or we're doing a presentation, anything related to TradeStation. Let's see. Some last minute question. Michael, I opened a TSGO account, but no data charts showing. Michael, that's a question that you're going to have to probably bring up to your account representative. Any type of issues you're having with our platforms, please feel free to contact our support team, whether it's your account representative, technical support, client services. Those guys are there to help you out. It'll probably take you a few minutes for somebody to get on the phone, but give them a call, because getting somebody on the phone is great. They're very knowledgeable on TradeStation, and they can probably walk you through the steps of doing anything you want to do on the TradeStation platforms. All right, everyone, thank you for your time. I hope to see you in a future event. Have a great afternoon. Bye-bye.